no, without any context, we don't know where he is. I wish Joe Biden would one day actually come out at the exact same time Trump does and actually give a briefing with those three graphs and show us what a real president would sound like and look like in making this incredibly difficult life and death call.
Yeah, these really are life and death decisions. CNN, Tom, is reporting that the president's talking to his friends from Wall Street, hedge fund managers, others in the big business financial world who are pressuring him to open the economy up as soon as possible. Everybody wants to see the economy opened up as soon as possible, but you got to have confidence that people won't be dying. There won't be increased numbers in the process. And do you have confidence he'll let science and medicine, rather than big business or Wall Street, guide his decision making?
You know, well, I was actually one of the first people to raise this whole issue back now 3 weeks ago of how do we harmonize the need for public health and the need for economic health, because obviously deaths of despair, if people lose their jobs, their livelihoods, their savings, that will cause enormous harm as well. The question is, how do we harmonize the two? And the only way to do that is with a strategy that says, let us continue to sequester and protect the most vulnerable, those in their late 60s and those who are the most immune, vulnerable, or compromised. How do we do that? And how do we then test for those people who have had the disease and gotten over it, or been quarantined or sheltered in place for a long time? We know that they don't have it. How do we slowly phase them into the workplace? There's only one way to do that, which you learned from Korea and Singapore and China, Wolf, is that if you do it too early, it will come back. And the worst thing in the world would be if we opened up and had to shut down again.
Yeah, that would be terrible. That would be so sad, and the deaths could escalate dramatically. In terms of reopening the economy, Tom, the majority of the major decisions lie with the individual governors out there. But the reality is there are some governors, especially those close to the president, like the governor of Florida, for example, who take their cues directly from the president. Is that the problem with state-by-state approach right now as you see it?
Yeah, I mean, you want everyone to be making these decisions on the basis of the best scientific input, and not from really any other source. They've got to be concerned about their economies. I totally get that. I sympathize with it. I'm concerned about our economy here in Maryland. The governor just said state budget's going to have to be slashed. It's a real question, but we have to do it the right way, and the right way is phased in, based on real testing, surveillance, tracking and tracing, so we know who's going out, that the first phase is going out, and they're going into the most important jobs, and we know that they're likely to be safe, and if people do filter in there who are carrying the virus, we can track and trace them. It's not going to be perfect. I go back really both to the first point. It is a tough call, because whenever we do this, it's going to be in the context of this disease, this virus still being out there. Because there's only two ways to be immune from this. One is through a vaccine, the other is with herd immunity, that 60 to 70% of us get that. That could be a hellish prospect. So it's got to be done in a really smart, delicate way. And the president approached this process from the beginning in a really fact-based, scientific way of where are we, where is the health need the greatest, where are we bending the curve, and what is the state of the testing so we can phase people out there. I would have a lot more confidence that this decision was being made not by the president calling pals on Wall Street or listening to quack doctors anywhere in the system or on the internet, but based on a real gathering around the table. Here's the doctors, here's the science, here's the needs of the economy. If he did that, even under the best of circumstances, though, Wolf, it will be a very big, tough call for him, other leaders around the world, governors or mayors. We're talking about Harry Truman and the decision to drop a bomb. In this case, it's a very, very tough call. And I would say to the president's credit, he talked about how tough that will be, and it is a tough call for him. I just want it to be made with the best scientific input possible.
Yeah, he says it's the toughest decision he's ever had to make in his life. You tweeted this today, and I'll read it. You said the U.S. should have made the stimulus a race to the top for COVID-19, combating innovations. What would that have looked like, in your opinion?
that would have said, we're going to give our stimulus to the countries that can make the best masks fastest, the best ventilators fastest, the best hospital beds fastest. Wolf, one of the things that I'm so worried about is that we've already spent $2 trillion roughly bailing out the economy and workers. That was absolutely necessary just to keep the economy afloat. We're probably going to spend at least another $1 trillion more on stimulus to create jobs. It is so vital, Wolf, that we spend that money right. So if we're putting the next generation of Americans deeper into debt, we're doing it in a way that gives them the tools to actually thrive and compete in the 21st century, the way FDR did in the Depression through rural electrification and the WPA building infrastructure. Then it was roads and bridges. Going forward, it's going to have to be the technologies of the 21st century, broadband, to every house in the country, for instance, scientific research, 5G. You just go right down the list. Let's make sure if we're going to go deeper into debt, we're doing it around the technologies that will enable the next generation of Americans to realize their full potential. Because Lord knows the debt burden they're going to be carrying, we're all going to be carrying, but particularly your kids and mine, our girls, we want to make sure they've got every chance to realize their full potential, pay that debt back in multiples, because we've given them the tools to be more productive than ever.
Yeah, they just got to start rebuilding the country's infrastructure right now. So much of it is a disaster. All right, Tom Friedman, thank you very much as usual for joining us.
Great to be with you, Wolf, and happy Passover.
All right, thanks. Same to you. Just ahead, will the U.S. economy be open for business next month? President Trump says it's the biggest decision he'll ever make. Plus, horrific images out of New York City right now where authorities are burying unclaimed bodies in trenches. You can see the coffins right there. We'll bring you an update from the epicenter here in the United States.
In these uncertain times, look after yourself, your family, your friends. But know when it comes to your finances, we are here for you.
What can I do for you today?
Take a look at the portfolio and make adjustments.
Feel free to chat if you have any more questions.
Our JP Morgan advisors are working from home to help guide you through this. For more than 200 years, we've helped our clients navigate historic challenges. And we will get through this one together.
This is the Farrells family's land. They grew their first tomatoes right here. And when it snows, the kids go sledding right there. The Farrells family runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because this is more than just land. It's home. Search John Deere 1 Series for more.
For people living with HIV, keep being you and ask your doctor about Biktarvy. Biktarvy is a complete one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in certain adults. It's not a cure, but with one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to and stay undetectable. That's when the amount of virus is so low, it cannot be measured by a lab test. Research shows people who take HIV treatment every day and get to and stay undetectable can no longer transmit HIV through sex.
Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare, life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take dofetilide or rifampin. Tell your doctor about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your doctor. Common side effects were diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
If you're living with HIV, keep loving who you are and ask your doctor if Biktarvy is right for you.
You know when your dog is itching for a treat. Itching for an outing. Or itching for some cuddle time. But you may not know when he's itching for help, licking for help, or rubbing for help. If your dog does these frequently, they may be signs of an allergic skin condition that needs treatment. Don't wait. Talk to your veterinarian and learn more at itchingforhelp.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Harper, and I recently had a heart attack. It changed my life, but I'm a survivor. After my heart attack, my doctor prescribed Brilinta. It's for people who have been hospitalized for a heart attack.
Brilinta is taken with a low-dose aspirin, no more than 100 milligrams, as it affects how well Brilinta works. Brilinta helps keep platelets from sticking together and forming a clot. In a clinical study, Brilinta works better than Plavix.
Brilinta reduced the chance of having another heart attack or dying.
Don't stop taking Brilinta without talking to your doctor, since stopping it too soon increases your risk of clots in your stent, heart attack, stroke, and even death. Brilinta may cause bruising or bleeding more easily, or serious, sometimes fatal bleeding. Don't take Brilinta if you have bleeding, like stomach ulcers, a history of bleeding in the brain, or severe liver problems. Slow heart rhythm has been reported. Tell your doctor about bleeding, new or unexpected shortness of breath, any planned surgery, and all medicines you take.
If you recently had a heart attack, ask your doctor if Brilinta is right for you. My heart is Brilinta.
If you can afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help. When did you see the signs?
When I needed to tell you about visitor experience.
And prove our work.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended food graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling. Get started at fastsigns.com.
I've been struggling with keeping up on how much I spend on.
I had no idea how much money I was spending on monthly subscriptions.
Truebill showed me how many I had and made it incredibly easy to cancel many of them. It's easy to read, navigate, and operate. I finally feel like I'm getting my act together financially. Truebill is amazing. Truebill, the smartest way to manage your finances.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Frog Tape for the sharpest paint lines every time. Frog Tape is the only painter's tape treated with patented paint block technology. Get professional results with Frog Tape for sharp lines every time.
Expert analysis on the coronavirus pandemic. We're joined now once again by our Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and former FDA Commissioner Mark McClellan. Guys, thanks very much. Sanjay is the global death toll from the coronavirus now tops 100,000 of the health experts and the White House Coronavirus Task Force. They say they see some encouraging signs right now. Do you see some promising signs even as the death toll continues to climb on more than 18,000 confirmed deaths in the U.S. and some of the projections say by August it could be 60,000?
Yeah, I think so, Will. I mean, you want to see these trends sort of continue. I think it's sometimes hard for people to get their arms around the fact that, between the time someone is exposed to this virus potentially, to the time they develop symptoms, then a small percentage of them have to go to the hospital, and obviously a very small percentage of them pass away from this. There's a lot of time in 3 weeks. So it's not entirely unreasonable that you'd still see death rates sadly go up, but hospitalization rates are down a little bit, or at least plateaued. That means that in a week or so, 2 weeks, that we should see a decrease in death rates as well. Hopefully, again, you want to see these numbers be a trend versus a few data points. But yeah, I think that can be considered encouraging.
Well, let's hope. Commissioner McClellan, you co-wrote a very important report about reopening the country. Tell our viewers the key recommendations for getting people back to work safely.
Well, first off, the hope is seeing the trends that we're starting to see now continue. That the downward trend within the number of cases means that our healthcare systems will have plenty of capacity if we keep these distancing measures in place for a while longer to absorb any new increase in cases, any new outbreaks. So number one is keep doing what we're doing until we've seen a steady downward trend and we're past the horrific images like the ones that you just showed. We never want to go through that again. Second, to make sure this doesn't happen again, we need the capacity in place to detect outbreaks early and hopefully prevent them. And that means lots more availability of testing and the ability to trace the contacts of people who test positive and support them so that we don't get any more big outbreaks like what we've seen in the last couple of months and what we're still living through now. Those are the most important things to start with.
Sanjay, the president says widespread testing, national testing, that would be nice potentially, but not necessarily necessary. Medical experts largely disagree with that outlook. Is that what your impression is as well?
When I've heard this conversation from people, I'm not sure if there's some confusion in terms of how people are defining widespread testing. The president said the other day, we don't need to test everybody in the country, some 325 million people. I think he's right on that. I don't think anyone's suggesting that 325 million tests are going to be done or need to be done. But we do need to have widespread testing. And, it's hard to put a number on exactly what that means, but I think for starters, it means not just people who are coming in with symptoms to the hospital, but starting to do surveillance. So, you know, for example, Scott Gottlieb was talking about this today, that people go into their primary